In this episode of Life Pulse, we're taking a look at the relationship between social media and mental health. And joining me is Dr. Ronnie Whitfield, aka Hip Hop Doc, social media sensation, here to share with us his insight and expertise on mental health and social media. Now, we'll start this conversation by pointing out that the U.S. Surgeon General recently came out and announced this is a real problem,
Yes.
and he's trying to establish some guidelines and create public awareness. As a medical doctor, what do you see and what are your concerns?
Well, the first thing is I'm a father, so this is important to me. Not only did he come up with some strong guidelines, he recommended a labeling of social media. And I don't know how that would be done, but I guess when you open your screen, it'll say, warning, this is increases your risk of anxiety, depression, suicide, whatever. Labeling of tobacco and alcohol, limited research on how effective or impactful it was in changing people's behaviors. But I think with social media, something has to be done. Social media is not all bad. If you curate your list and you're looking at, I have a son and he likes basketball and we're looking at basketball drills and that kind of stuff, and I'm doing it with him and I'm aware of what he's doing, that's fine. But you're seeing some very lewd behavior, nudity, vulgarity, pranks that could be harmful to folks. These young people are seeing it, and particularly cyberbullying in comparison. A lot of the young ladies, particularly young women, will look at this stuff and say, I want to look like that, be like that, but I can't. And it's depressing for them. So we're seeing a lot of anxiety and depression and sometimes suicide from young people that are looking at social media. So there's a huge concern.
So the U.S. Surgeon General said that any screen time over 3.5 hours a day is a problem.
Right.
But realistically, I think many would say our youth are spending more than 3.5 hours a day in front of a screen of some sort.
So he said 3 hours last year would increase your risk of anxiety, depression ×2. And at that time, he was saying the average teen spent 3.5 hours on social media. It's up to 4.8 now.
Wow.
But I would take it a step further. Most of the kids I know have the computer on while they're doing homework. Nobody's writing anymore. Their phone is open while they're scrolling through social media to see what's happening, locally. And then also may have the TV on as well. And so you're able to condense or compress probably 8 hours into that 4.8 hours. And that's a lot of overload for the brain. It affects sleep patterns. And again, the anxiety and depression that could go along with it. So we have to be able to control that screen time. Controlling screen time for our parents is very important.
So what can a parent do?
The number one is controlling screen time. Talk to your child about what's going on, what they're looking at. And also, my daughter first got Instagram, which was after middle school. I think she was in 9th grade when we first allowed her to have Instagram. I had access to the account, so I could see everything that she could see and follow everything that she would follow. So making sure that there's some parental controls there. Talk to your child about what they're interacting and what they're seeing on Instagram, and if there's keep saying Instagram, Facebook, whatever it might be, TikTok. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, get out, put it down, set some parameters, like at an hour before bedtime, no more screen time. Take the phones from them if you have to. They say blue light affects or light affects how you sleep and that type. So take those devices from your children and control the screen time.
So as a medical doctor, one of your areas of advocacy is heart health. Mm-hmm. This has got to be a concern for you because not only are they attached to these screens and it's affecting their mental health, but there's consequences for their physical health as well.
Yeah. You're not exercising, you're not moving, we're not getting any sunlight. I see a lot of low vitamin D levels in my practice. That's because people are not getting out in the sun during safe sunlight hours. So again, another part of what parents should do is encourage activity and exercise and or hobbies and doing things outdoors. So getting away from that screen time, spending some time outdoors and doing more family time. When it's dinner time, all phones down. And come on, most families are not having a traditional meal together, but when you're able to do it, it should be phones down unless you're taking a group shot of the family.
So warning signs parents should look for if social media is negatively impacting their child's mental health.
Right. You need to look for typical signs of anxiety and depression, addiction. So you have a child that is in the room all the time, just on the phone, just scrolling through the phone, 4 or 5 hours at a time. What is impacting schoolwork, impacting sleep? Sleep, interest in things they used to like to do, guilt issues, their energy's down, weight gain because they're on the screen and they're just eating. The clinical signs of depression and anxiety are very evident and they're easy to identify, but you have to pay attention to your child because it's easy to say, oh, you're in your room studying and just leave them. You need to check in and see what's going on.
All right, final thoughts on social media and mental health, especially among our young kids?
Social media is not all bad, but it's definitely got some things we need to address. And anxiety, depression is real. I don't think I said this statistically, but about 95 to 96% of our young people, teenagers, are on social media. Surprisingly, about 46% of children between 8 to 12 have access to social media as well on a regular basis. So we need to be parents and parent our children and let them know that this is not good all the time. We need to do other things as well.
All right. Dr. Ronnie Whitfield, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Life Pulse and sharing your insight and expertise on the relationship between social media and mental health. This is a topic we will be following closely as more data comes out about some of the dire consequences. So again, thank you.
Thank you.